Hello, everyone. This is Jim Okrasinski with your weekly screencast video. In this week's schedule, we're actually beginning the unit on weeks 11, 12, and 13. We're shifting our focus from the annotated bibliography to the research essay. All the activities that we begin or continue on for the next couple of weeks will help us move forward, or I should say, you move forward toward the research essay. Chapter 4 is an informative chapter. It has a lot of great content. Please take the time to read through the sections in the readings. This particular beginning of the unit here, pages 111 to 121, are very important just to get an overview of how to begin pulling together or the drafting process. Chapter 4 is all about drafting. And one of the items that we have for this week is discussion board 12, which is the dialogue with Dave post. Now, it's an important post because it starts to begin a conversation about your topic and your research with a possible audience. What was your thinking about your topic? How has it changed? And it is a worthwhile activity for you to really have a conversation with somebody about your draft and your topic, although it may be a fictitious person. It's just like carrying on a conversation. So let's get into the unit here. The readings and resources I have available. Once again, you can revert back to the previous units and some of the resources there about citations or any of the information that was helpful in the annotated bibliography. I have some links to some videos on how to set up an MLA document for the research essay. Also a nice video how to build a quote sandwich, because we want to really take some of the information from our sources and provide context around them. Something like using a quote or a good paraphrase information as the meat, and then the context around it as the bun to build a sandwich. So those types of resources will be really good to take a look at as we move forward. Now here is the research essay assignment, and I have it all here. The minimum requirements, the 6 to 8 sources, the 2,000 to 2,500 words for the first draft, excluding a works cited page. You must have an MLA formatted works cited page, so you have source information to carry the conversation forward. The first draft due date is the 29th of April, and then we'll go through a peer review process. Here's all the criteria for that particular draft. Typical MLA formatting as far as title, heading, spacing, line spacing, first line indent, any of that information there. So the first draft is due on the 29th. The final draft will be due on May 13th, allowing for the peer review and revision period there. All right, so this should read through this closely as far as a and how to format your particular research essay draft. All right, so I have the instructions there. Critical, and we'll talk about this as we move through the next weeks, is the using and citing sources. How to introduce speakers, number one. Showing starting and ending points of your information, either your paraphrasing and or your quote activity. Also, how to use page numbers, and more importantly, it's the cross-reference. If you cite something in text, it must cross-reference, correlate to something on your works cited page. There's an instructional video explaining how to use and cite sources and some examples here. A useful page for everyone. Okay, so with the dialogue with Dave this week, as I mentioned, it's a way to have your particular conversation with, although a fictitious, a person. Here I provide some sort of a framework. There was a dialogue. I have a template here. Please make a copy if you can before you type in it. That way it preserves the template for everybody. I just want to make that aware there that you have to do that. We get to chapter 4. Chapter 4 is all about pulling together the research essay draft. information here that is interesting, whether you want to create an argument or perhaps maybe you just want to explore and discuss your topic using your source material to support your thinking about your topic. Looking at in many ways, what do you know, and then the instructions here for dialogue with Dave, I think is really an appropriate place to start. Okay. Ballinger is really big on saying one thing. Make sure you have like a main point or a thesis, and really how you want to organize the draft. There might be different avenues that you can take to organize your draft, whether it's a problem solution format, compare, contrast. How is it that you want to structure it? If it's written kind of like in a narrative logic, you might want to present it in the chronological ordering. So the idea here is to skim through some of the pages and look at the information here, and it gives some really good tips on how to begin thinking about organizing your drafts. And we'll come back to chapter 4 later on in the next week or two. All right. So that's what's happening for this week. This will be week 12 in this week 11 in the schedule. If you have any questions or issues about the annotated, please contact me. This might be a good time if you want to think about revising a few things for a better grade on the annotated. You should be able to take the time to do that now before the heavy research essay is due toward the end of the month. Once again, questions or issues, send me an email. Good luck.